All right, here we go. I was reading about the flood yesterday, and I came across some thoughts while I was reading it that I think are important. And so what I want to do is I want to just read the story of the flood out of Genesis. I'm going to start in chapter 6, and I'll read, through chapter 9. I'll stop at the end of 9. That's when Noah dies. So, before I do that, what I wanted to mention is that I believe that we're subject to a higher power. We are created, and the one who created us deserves all the glory for everything and praise for everything that he's done. Look at the world you live in. It's amazing. But I'm learning that there are limitations that mankind, or just men in general, have to they have to draw the line at certain limitations, and it's because of what God tells Noah, and he makes a covenant with Noah, and we're going to read that. And I think there's a thin line. I don't know how to explain what I'm learning. There's a thin line between righteousness and wickedness, a very thin line. And what I mean by that is, if we don't put limitations on ourselves and our desires and what we desire to do, we're going to do things that are out of bounds for a human being. And what that ends up being is ascending into heaven. And that's actually Luciferian. Like NASA, SpaceX, these are Luciferian. Because what is Lucifer in the Bible? In Isaiah chapter 14, it says that Lucifer says in his heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will exalt, what does he say? Let's look at it. Because he clearly says he wants to go up into the sky and basically replace God, and set his throne there instead of God's. And he wants to ascend above the heights of the clouds. Let's see if I can find this really quick. I don't want this to be a super long video, but I guess I don't care too much, because I think this is good content right here, because I'm learning. So if you want to learn along with me, it's up to you. So Isaiah 14 verse 12 says, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. That's God's holy mountain in the sides of the north. So Lucifer right here is saying, I'm going to go there and exalt my throne there. He says, verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. But then it says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So this is actually what I think is happening to NASA and SpaceX and anybody that's going into space. They're going into hell, and they don't realize it. They're going into outer darkness, a dark abyss, where even NASA and SpaceX and anybody going to that place is well aware of the state of free fall. Anything in the solar system is perpetually falling into darkness. Like the space station, for example, it's been up there for 22 or 23 years, and it's been falling the whole time, free falling. and it still hasn't reached the bottom. It's in a bottomless pit of darkness. And this is what's being revealed by God, I believe. It's not being revealed by any of us. So they're Luciferians. NASA, anybody that's supporting NASA. I don't think everybody realizes it, but they're trying to ascend into heaven. And like just some of the things that Jesus did, Jesus ascended into heaven. He's the only one that did. So there's no righteous part of the space programs. And when I'm talking about limitations, we'll come back to this, but when I'm talking about limitations, this is one of them. We all want to explore. Like if you see a cave, you're like, I want to go see what's in there. That's built into us to explore. But we have to draw a line because we have dominion here, and that's what we're going to learn from Noah. We have dominion here on the earth over the animals, and we have the things that grow here and walk here, or the animals here. They're for food, and the herbs are the seed yielding herb. That's for our meat and for our use. God says that to Noah. He makes a covenant with him. So God claims many times in the Bible, Isaiah 66 verse 1 is one example. God is in heaven, and that's his dominion. And he has dominion there, not men. He didn't give us any right to go to heaven or to climb up to heaven. And like in John 10, Jesus says some important words, which I'm going to read really quick here, or just a few of them. Talking about going up into heaven. And this is a problem in the end of days, is what I'm learning. Jesus says this, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth forth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. Then he says, well, I'll just keep reading. This parable spake Jesus unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Jesus unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers. But the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out, and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come, that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for his sheep, or for the sheep. But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. Okay, I could keep reading, but I want to start in Genesis 6. This is like something that happened in the world. You don't have to believe this. I believe this. I believe this really happened. Where we're going to read about fallen angels mingling with the daughters of men, and something awful was created, and I think that's why the flood was sent on the earth. But we'll read about that right now. So I'm going to start in Genesis 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing and fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. That's freaky. Like he almost said, I wish I didn't do this. That's just weird to think of. The Creator was disappointed. He was upset. He had regret that he made all of this. But then he kind of changes his thinking. So it says here, let's see, where was I? But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth from above, because he lives up there. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee all of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7s, the male and female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy off the face of the earth. Whoa. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all, okay, listen to this. The same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. I'm going to pause there for a second because I want to point something out that I think is very important. The fountains of the great deep broken up, that's up there. And then the windows of heaven opened and rain came down. The fountains of the great deep are in the sky. They're not like, I used to think there was like fountains coming up from the ground or something and flooding. That's not what this is saying. Because where is the great deep? It's beneath God's feet. It's the darkness. It's the night sky. Dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. So this is biblical cosmology. I'm not making it up. The fountains of the great deep are above. That's dark waters or the waters above. Okay. I'm just sharing that because I used to think that it was like coming up from beneath the ground or something, but that's not at all what I believe this to be. Okay. In the self-same day entered Noah, and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters, I have a dry erase board right there, and I drew an image on there that we're going to look at when we're done reading this story. I just drew something with dry erase markers or whatever. And I think you'll get a kick out of it because it's hilarious. Okay. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. Did I skip a verse? No, I didn't. Okay. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl, and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping thing, and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Chapter 8. And God remembered Noah, and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountains also, okay, listen. The fountains also of the deep, wait, I lost my place. Okay, the fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark, which he had made, and he sent forth a raven, which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her in unto him in the ark, into the ark. And he stayed yet another 7 days. And again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. And God spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth, after their kinds, went forth out of the ark. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast, and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Chapter 9. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. So God's giving, he's making a covenant. He's giving them dominion over these things. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of every man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. And you, be ye fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. And God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark, to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you, neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. That would be us. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the 3 sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be an husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine, and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his 2 brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment, and laid it upon both their shoulders, and went backward, and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him. It's kind of a weird thing, and he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. So that covenant God made with Noah and his sons, or you could even say he made it with us. He made it with perpetual generations. But there's limitations. That's the whole point that I want to point out. If we go past if we go beyond the covenant that God made with the earth and the creeping things, and with the covenant that God made with Noah, if we go beyond that, we're doing Lucifer's bidding. We're helping Lucifer fulfill what's in his heart to ascend into heaven. Because I like exploring. I like going into the woods and climbing a tree, finding things that I haven't seen before. Going into a cave, or even taking something apart to see how it's made. Like, we're curious people. That's built into us. Exploring things is built into us. But I draw the line at trying to explore heaven. God did not give us dominion over anything in the sky. Well, I guess the fowl, the birds, but that's like in the sky right here. But heaven, the place where NASA and SpaceX and all these other space agencies think they're going, is not part of the covenant. That's the dominion of God, and we don't belong there. So that's where you become a Luciferian. If you want to go beyond the covenant, or it's limited, is what I'm saying. If that makes any sense. That was it. That's why I'm saying there's a fine line between wickedness and what God calls righteousness. And Lucifer's tricking the world. He's tricked all of us. Deceived all of us. You guys have a good day. That was fun.